All right.
Let's do this.
It's the wrong music. Hold on. We have startup music that we like to use that we don't actually share with the audience, do we, Kiki?
No, it's a secret.
I'm pretty sure it's this.
Jammin'.
Welcome to the Misadventures of
Kiki
and Cowboy. We're here for another episode. It is summertime here in Texas and most of this side of the planet, actually.
I was going to say, just in Texas, it's summer?
Yes, yeah. It's especially Texas in summer.
So any of you listening outside of the Texas area, it may be a different season, but here it is definitely summer.
It's Texas summer.
Oh, and Texas summer is a different season.
It is brutal hot, except for we got this really cool. No one cares about the weather.
No.
But what they do care about, we're literally sitting here together at our podcast studio and talking about the weather. Apparently,
yeah, let's do it because that's what people do.
It's 72 degrees here at Misadventures.
KFTN,
yeah, whatever call sign is.
Call sign.
Yeah.
Yes.
So today we're going to talk about something. It's kind of like on the motif of what the Vegas motif.
Yes.
Correct?
What happens in the driveway stays in the driveway.
So we have some driveway stories today.
We do, but I thought we would start off because this does lead into our topic, and that is an observation that I believe you had.
That Cowboy had. Okay.
Yes, Cowboy had. So I left the house. I think I went and did some grocery shopping. I came back. This was about a week ago, and maybe 2 weeks ago now.
Okay.
And Cowboy had given my son, which is he 20? Boy, is that a bad mom job right there? But I think he's 20. Yes, in fact, he is 20.
He is 20.
Yeah, I was trying to decide if he's 20 or 21.
At the time of this recording, he is still 20.
Yeah, he's still 20. So Cowboy gave my son a job to mow the lawn. And this has been in our household as a blended family, something new that we've been trying to work on.
Experimental phase.
And we're trying to encourage the young adults living in our household to contribute.
Them life skills.
Well, that and an opportunity to have some value and contribution to the house.
And some sweat equity in what's going on here.
And this is not the first time that he has mowed the lawn. But I think every time he does mow the lawn, there's a revelation.
There's a new thing that we both learn, that everyone learns about the lawn mowing experience.
So I came home from grocery shopping, and Cowboy says, "So did you look at? Did you notice? Did you look?"
Well,
and I was like,
not only did I, because typically I've kept his experimental, let's say his training to the backyard, where no one can see. This time I said, you know what? He's ready. He's ready.
He's ready for prime time.
Let's get him in the front yard.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I asked Kiki, I was like, did you notice? Did you notice? Did you see what happened in the front yard? And her response was?
I said, no, not really. I mean, now granted, it was getting a little bit twilight, so like the light wasn't.
It is actually kind of hard to see.
I thought maybe I saw something, but it really didn't reveal itself quite fully until the next morning.
So from the driveway, or even just in the street. So
you can see it from the street.
You can definitely see it from the street. So what happened was, so the lawnmower.
Well, maybe you should say how you discovered that this was a thing.
Oh, so how I discovered. So we set him. Royal, and so I said, all right. Here you go. And it's one of these battery powered things. So he grabs the battery, loads it up, takes it out
front.
Off
he goes.
Starts mowing. Comes in pretty quickly. I would say pretty short. Now I've mowed the front yard obviously 1,000 times, and however many times since we've lived here. And I know how long the battery should last.
Okay.
It should last the entire front yard. There's two sides. One side of the driveway.
And the front yard, is smaller.
Much smaller than the backyard.
Much smaller than our backyard.
Think of a diamond, and the house is placed toward the bottom of the diamond. There's a big, if it were
like a baseball diamond.
If it were a baseball diamond, the house would be between home plate and the pitcher's mound. There's a whole bunch of yard back there.
Yes.
That normally is an experimental area where the tortoises live.
Yes, we don't really care what it looks like
what
back
happens.
there. The tortoises are not very picky about
there.
how it's mowed.
So what happened is he comes in, and I'm in the front office, and he's swapping out batteries. And I was like, huh. I was like, that's odd. And he kind of shrugged, swapped out the battery, got the other battery. The other battery is a smaller battery. And I thought about it. I was like, why did he go through did some mental gymnastics there while I was doing some additional some work.
You need one of those calculator abacus sounds.
Just kind of the sliding, the cha-ching, So that's the old school, the old ticker tape type typewriter. Right. And so insert that or cows, whichever is easier. And then so I went out there just to check, and because it just seemed odd. And here's what happened. So the grass was rather tall. Mm. It needed to be mowed.
It did indeed.
And it needed what it needed.
And it had been raining.
And so
leading up to that.
It had been about 3 weeks. It was pretty thick.
Yeah, so it was pretty thick, and the grass was moist.
Sure.
Would we say?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't wet.
Yeah, but it was just very thick and healthy. So from a mowing perspective, it wasn't an easy mow job. And this is a pushing mower. It's lightweight because it's electric.
Yeah.
But so what I gathered as soon as I walked out there, almost in emergency mode, as soon as I opened the door and saw what was going on, is so
it was emergency mode already.
I was in shock, only because here's what had happened is I had mowed the little dog run here, which is basically I cut it down to a level 1, which is just above a golfing putting green.
Okay,
I try and keep it real tight there.
Okay.
Because it's great for the dogs, keeps the weeds away, all those things. And that grass is nice and thick.
Yes.
He did not question, and I did not say anything as to why it was so hard to mow. Well, it was because he was mowing the bigger area of the yard. Think like a cornfield, but down to an eighth of an inch. So it was a lot of stuff to mow, and so the battery, of course, died real fast. But also the yard, and I was having him mow it because we were gonna get a week of 100-degree whatever, and I wanted to cut it a little bit so I could just water it.
You wanted to cut it all the way down to the nub so that you could just burn it right off as soon as the Texas sun comes out.
There were areas where dirt was exposed. Because it was mowed so close to the ground, and of course he was exhausted because he's just pushing through. He might as well been pushing a plow, because that's how much dirt was revealed.
A little bit like what
and
it
he was
like.
about. So I get out there and I say, "Hey, do you don't realize this is pretty close?" And I was like, "We need to raise it." And this was his question to me was like, "Well, then it won't all look the same." And I said, "That's a good thing.
That's probably a good thing."
I don't want the rest so you're on one foot, you got grass. On the other side, it's like this. It's scalped. And he's like, "Well, it won't look the same."
It's a really bad buzz cut.
It's truly horrible. So it'd it'd be like getting a bad haircut and looking at it and go, "You know what? We've invested. Might as well finish the job. Just keep going." As opposed to, no, we raised it to a level 4, so the rest of the yard wouldn't die.
Yes. So,
and he finished.
So yes, the next morning I did notice there's definitely some pretty rough.
Luckily, he missed a few spots, so that grass gets to live. So I'll be mowing that.
Yes,
again.
and what's great is. Because the driveway
happens in or near the driveway,
near the driveway, stays in or near the driveway.
Yeah.
So what's great is like this. There's kind of 2 side yards, but the smaller side yard got scalped
badly
next to the neighbors, and then a portion of the main part of the front yard on the other side of the driveway got scalped, and then the rest of it looks okay.
Is quote unquote normal.
But although it looks like you actually
still working on the straight lines though. We had some random turns there that are.
Well, the last time I saw him mowing, he was doing it like a vacuum cleaner, and he would push it forward and then he would pull it backwards.
2 steps forward, 1 step to the side.
Which I was like, I mean. I've not really, except for maybe once in my life, really mowed the yard. So, I mean, I'm not one to comment.
It's not really an art. I mean, you just push straight
I
and cut the grass.
have vacuumed, and I thought, I don't recall mowing and vacuuming the same kind of back and forth motion.
No.
I've never seen my
Mowing is
father
better
or you
straight.
or anybody else that I know operate.
I mean, sometimes
a mower.
corners are difficult and whatnot, but I will say this: he did mow.
He did, and
box
without
checked,
complaint.
And without complaint. His only complaint is that he didn't get to do the whole job the same way. which now I know at least
you know what? Let's look at it this way. Maybe his career field should be in quality control because
I don't know about quality.
Well, no, because I mean he's
continuity control.
Continuity.
It's got to be the same the whole way through. Consistency control.
Yes. I think actually
it's like
you
that
said that about my cooking once. Didn't
like
you say?
Kiki made this amazing meal
amazing
and my
fishing for compliments. I say, well, do you like it? Mostly because not really looking for compliments. I'm looking for, are you going to eat this thing again that I made? In the future, like, is this throw it in the trash, or is this a recipe to make again? And your comment was, I believe,
well, my darling, each bite, the taste is consistent
with the last.
So, which you can say about.
So I'm
anything.
I don't know that you can't. Clearly not, because if you were to say that about our lawn,
the continuity
would be incorrect.
Each mow you don't want it to be consistent. So, anyway. But I'll give him credit. One, like you said, minimal complaint. Yes. 2, he did mow. 3, he's right about where I think of where.
Well, he
has not had a lifetime of experience. I think this is his maybe 5th time to mow at all.
Yes.
So he's doing fine.
Yes, if we level set him to a peer of similar experience level, let's say, that would probably be somebody who was either a young teenage, mid-teenager, 14 to 16, probably has about this amount of experience.
Yep.
So yes, he's
right on track.
Yeah, he's well, we'll see about that.
The taking pride in your work, especially in this, it's about 50 mows away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Until 50. You actually go
and take pride.
I'm doing a good job.
Yeah, I think you're gonna when he turns 21. Are you planning on taking him out in the front yard and just cracking a beer and standing back and just kind of gazing?
I think before that,
at the lawn mowing job.
But before that, I may have to do what is it? A guided tour? Like, walk with me. These are the things I look for. Starting with, let's talk about the deck height.
Yes.
The deck height should never be 1 unless you're sure you want it to be. And I'm holding my thumb and finger so I can barely see through it. That's level 1.
You mean dirt?
Yes.
Dirt
We're trying to reduce the yard to dirt. You might as well just take the wheels off, and now you've got like one of those big concrete fan things that he used to smooth the concrete down. Let's just use one of those on the yard. Yes. That'll do it. That'll make it interesting. The neighbors will love that.
He comes away honestly because he gets it from his mother. I will say.
Oh, he's got lots of qualities, just like his mother.
Just like his mother, lots of qualities.
They're all consistent.
So yes,
consistent with the last quality.
So I think you guys probably have heard on a previous episode that we were recently down in Austin, and so this little episode is a prelude, I guess, to our trip to Austin, because we were going to drive down midweek, try to miss some of the traffic, take a day off of work. And my AC goes out in my car.
Yes.
Literally
2 days. 2
days.
Just enough time
before the trip. Which, I mean, honestly, thankfully, right? Because it had gone out.
If it's going to go out the day before,
or
the day of,
the day of would have been a brutally hot trip to drive,
especially because
4 or 5 hours with no AC at all.
Yeah.
So,
and because by taking it in, we found that some of it was under warranty.
Was actually under warranty,
and in Austin, no one would have honored that warranty, and we would have paid full both.
So so that was thank goodness for small favors, and it's our mechanic that we love. Actually,
Check the show notes, and if Cowboy remembers, we'll give a shout out to our friends.
We will. They're fantastic for anybody who might be tuning in to get recommendations
in the Frisco, Texas area. So it's probably worth a minimal drive.
I think you could drive, from Oklahoma down here to get your
automotive ER in Frisco, Texas.
Absolutely,
they've done right by us. Taking care of several of our cars.
The reason I bring it up is that so Cowboy and I are jockeying for how are we, because he's working at his podcast studio, which is several minutes away from the house, 40, 45 minutes or so.
Several, 40.
Yeah. Several. Did not specify how many severals. And so he was very kind to say, well, I could drop it off, and when are we going to pick it up? And I was trying to juggle my meetings and all of that. And so as it turned out,
people. We're
terribly busy, important people.
Yeah.
What can we say? And
we make time for you, our audience
we
member.
do. The kindness of our heart, really.
We do this for you.
Our singular
it's
audience
a labor
member.
of love.
Yes. So I say all of this to say that, as with most of our trips, somehow we're in the driveway at 9 p.m. the night
almost
before.
every time.
Every time. I mean, we're buying
packing. We're buying a trailer and connecting said trailer in the dark.
I mean, you name it. Somehow this
cash.
is our MO. So
how we roll.
It is absolutely. So luckily, my daughter has a car. And so we were able to kind of, what I basically did is I drove over, paid for, got the keys, but I left the car there, waited for Cowboy to come home after work, and after a series of, extracurricular activities, whatever it was
whatever
we
that
were
means.
doing. I don't
Make
remember.
Up your own
I think
story,
I probably
folks.
had like a workout or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, that's
and
our extracurricular isn't quite that.
It wasn't too extra. And so we go back to pick up the car. On our way home, I'm driving my daughter's car. Cowboy is driving my
Kiki's car. Yeah,
and he arrives a little bit, I don't know 5 or so minutes before I do.
Sure.
Probably because I was playing Pokemon, and so
she's addicted now, folks.
If you didn't
hear our Pokemon, there's a whole lot of stuff happening there.
So he beat me home.
Yeah.
And I pull in, and Cowboy is actively in the driveway trying to hook up the trailer to our motorcycle trailer. Will actually work with my tiny little car.
Yeah, it actually fits nicely.
And that's great with the dogs and kids and all that kind of stuff, and be able to take it down to Austin.
Because she was leaving before me.
Yes,
and she was also taking a terrific amount of gear and kids and dogs and suitcases, right. So the trailer made sense to her.
Right. So you're in the middle of trying to
swap out,
assemble everything that you need
the trailer
in
ball.
order to...
Yes. So my hands are busy. My mind's busy.
Yes,
it's hot.
I pull in, and it's
still Texas summer at 9:00 at night.
It is, but it is dark
and also dark.
It's dark. The sun is down at this point. So
the driveway light had nothing on how dark it was.
And as I am driving to the house, I notice that my daughter's tire sensor has gone off and said that it's low. And one of the things that I know about Cowboy is that he absolutely hates to drive on a soft tire. Not even a flat tire, but a soft tire.
Wrong.
It just drives him crazy.
Yeah,
it's
like wearing wet socks.
I was like, okay, I am a total offender on this. I will drive and be like, well, I'll take care of it later. And then 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 7 days later, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I should fill that up.
Why's my gas mileage so bad?
Yeah.
Where are those sparks coming from?
So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to be proactive. I know that he'll like it if I fill up the tire.
Yeah. Love language.
And so I had a good deed in mind. Let's just
and she
say
could tell
that.
I was busy, so she was on it.
Yes, so I was not going to ask him to do it, right? Thinking again, I'm doing a good job.
Yep.
And then I think, my daughter is this is her first car. She's only just 17. So there's lots of things that she doesn't know about. When we got her the car, we got her some jumper cables and we got her some of the different stuff, but like we haven't shown her how to use any of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go crack open.
I got to own that, folks. I'll get on that.
I'm going to go crack open the brand new tire pressure inflator, what a jiggy. And I'm like, that way I know how it works, and then I'll tell her how to use it because, at some point,
which is a nice bonding experience. Yes.
So I am, opening her trunk, and I'm kind of digging through, and I realize all I find is some jumper cables. And I think, oh man, like mom fail number 2, I didn't get her, a compressor, like an air compressor to go in the trunk. So I dig around a little bit more, and as I lift up the floorboard of the trunk area,
it's a hatchback.
Yeah,
yep.
Her spare tire is in there.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of the spare tire is this little square machine, and it's got a Kia symbol written, like logo on it, or a Kia Hyundai. I don't remember
came with
what,
the car,
but it doesn't
though.
matter.
Yeah,
I've been thinking it's
provided by the manufacturer.
It's a manufacturer brand. So I'm like, oh, it must have come with the car, and maybe the people who sold us this car, didn't realize that it's in there with
it's great.
The spare tire. So I'm like, great.
Bonus.
I've never used this one before.
Let's start using it at 9 p.m. in the dark.
Why not?
What could go wrong?
So, I mean, I can read the hieroglyphic symbols that are on the side of the thing. I'm a smart person. I can figure out how this thing works. Yeah. But it is a piece of equipment that is not like the ones I have used before.
It did look unusual.
It is a square box. And what was odd about it is that there is kind of a carved out section of it that looks like you would slide something into place.
Some type of cartridge or something.
Yeah. And so I'm looking around, and in that same tire well is this, I would say it's probably 3-4 inches across, kind of a round, disc-like shaped.
Almost looked like a hockey puck, I think.
Yeah,
later when you showed it to me.
Yeah, it did. A hockey puck is a good description, and it was thicker than a hockey puck, but it was kind of a hockey puck shape.
But it was the attachment for that.
And so I'm looking at that. At first I had dismissed it, and then I realized, that thing slides in because it did have the little tracks on it and everything. And so I lined everything up. Great. Slid right in. I'm looking at all the instructions. Now, mind you, while I'm doing this in the dark with my cell phone light on, my husband, Cowboy, keeps making comments to me. And he keeps saying something like, why don't I just get out the tire compressor, the air compressor from my motorcycle?
It's
why
literally
don't I
5 feet away.
5 feet away.
It's
I
fully
have it
charged.
Right here.
It's right there. We know how to use it. There's no complication. Plus, I'm over there. I'm cursing at myself, dealing with something else, which I'll circle back to. But she's distracted by me over there cursing because I'm looking for something and it's dark and I'm fumbling
around in the dark. And then every time, all he keeps saying to me is, why don't you use the one in the...
Babe, just use the compressor. It's right there. It's
right there. And I'm like, I'm going to use this one
if we know anything
I can
about
tell
Kiki,
my daughter how to use it.
And she's not about to be told a different way.
I am not going to be bested by this
She's not
thing.
open to suggestion. And yes.
What?
And she's going to do
That's
a thing
shocking.
she's set out to do.
I am absolutely going to win with this thing.
This.
And you keep making a comment. You're like, you're going to learn how to use this thing in the dark. Why don't you just go inside and read the instructions? And I'm like, I can see them right here. It's perfectly fine with the light.
Typical husband trying to sound smart.
So it was
actually really good advice.
I put the cartridge in. I connect all of the little hoses that I need to connect. Everything seems to work fine.
Pauses to pat herself on the back.
I am. It uses I turn on the car, it uses the cigarette lighter to power it. Wonderful. I don't actually know which tire is low because she just has a sensor.
It's one single sensor.
That just says a tire is low. It does not tell you which one. So I start with the driver's front tire. out of luck, right?
I had a gauge in the motorcycle.
Yeah.
as
Well, so does this. So this has.
No, but I mean, just a little hint.
This has a little
Future
gauge
reference.
on it. Has a little gauge on it. Now, I will say it was a really old-fashioned gauge in that it is
just the circle.
It's just a circle with a needle.
It's not a
right?
digital thing.
It's really not a digital thing. It's not anything like the air compressor that I have in my car. You can program what pressure, PSI you want the tire to be. I double check on the insides of the doors. I think I figure out which, number I'm supposed to be hitting. And so I start and I screw in the hose to the tire and I turn it on for just a moment because I can't get the little needle to register to tell me what pressure the tire is presently. And I was trying to hit like 34. So I turn it on for a minute. The needle swings up and it bounces in between 30 and 40. It's about as best as I can tell because it's a pretty small little gauge.
And it's dark.
And I turn it off because I'm like, oh, it's already at the pressure it should be. So I turn it off. And then I think, well, maybe I should do it a little bit because when you unscrew those, I've known that like a little bit of air leaks out. And of course, when it starts getting cooler at night, tire pressure's a little lower, blah, blah, blah. Right. So I thought, well, it won't hurt to just do a little extra. So, and all this while Cowboy is grumbling over in the corner. In the driveway.
I'm still working on the trailer and some
all sorts of stuff going on over there.
Barking at myself.
So I hit the power on again and I leave it on for probably not even 10 seconds. Just enough, give a little gas, turn it off. And I'm like, okay, off to the next tire. I got this thing working. So I start unscrewing the hose that's attached to the tire. And between the connector, between the air compressor.
And here's where it gets wild.
And all of a sudden, it just starts foaming and shooting out this sticky, mucky goo that's
green
like,
goo.
Like if you could imagine just like this.
They can imagine.
This hose with like this, I don't even know what to call it. It's
I know our listeners.
Tan colored.
Yeah, they've got some thoughts.
Foaming.
Y'all stop that. All of you, stop that.
All over the place. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? I have never had an air compressor do this before in my life. And now it's all over my hands and I'm feeling it and it feels like rubbery almost. And it's like particles and it's so weird. And so I'm like, oh shit. And so I leave it there. And of course, now Cowboy hears me just like, fuck, shit. And like this hose is like, I'm just kind of like got it waving around and foam everywhere and all of this. And so he's like, oh my God, what's going on? And I'm like, never mind. And I go run into the house because I'm trying to wash off my hands for one. And two, and now I'm like, great. Now I've got this huge mess. Yep. I've got to get some paper towel.
This whole time, anyone could have thought you were describing a romantic evening gone wrong.
It pretty much was. It's this hose that's just shooting all over the place.
Got to get some paper towels.
And I have to get some paper towel. And so I come back and I am trying to wipe this up, which does not wipe up easily either. I've gotten it all over the tire. I've gotten it all over the stupid little machine. I've got it all over the driveway. And so I'm wiping it up and it's sticking to everything. And
I bet it smelled bad too.
I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck is this? And of course, Cowboy
at this point is tuned in.
He's like, you know what I think that probably is. And
I'm standing there, arms crossed.
Yeah. You're standing there like knowingly,
cocked head,
like,
crooked
you know
smile.
What that probably is.
That's fix a flat.
And I'm like, no shit.
Yeah, that's a corrosive
Yeah, I figured that out, dumb fuck.
that's a
I
chemical.
got that.
That's really bad for a good tire.
So I'm like,
Right now, acids are at work inside that tire,
and I
doing
am
some pretty
swearing
horrible
like
things.
a sailor at this point, and I'm taking the whole little device and I'm throwing it in the trash that's in our garage, and I'm just like so mad. And so now I've got to figure out, because of course, after I've even wiped it up, now what I'm worried about is that if it truly is fix-a-flat, which I believe it is,
Oh, I'm sure.
it is now inside the little nozzle that's on the tire. And I'm thinking, okay, if I let it like solidify,
that's a ruined tire.
I'm never going to be able to refill that tire. At least that's my suspicion. So now I'm digging around in my own trunk while Cowboy's trying to do whatever he's trying to do and getting in the way.
I've decided not to help at this point.
Yeah. I'm trying to get the air compressor, and I still don't know which tire is low.
Nope.
That's the other problem, right? So I hook everything back up. I start with
my air
that
compressor
tire.
is handheld portable.
I know.
You could have been all the way around that.
Yeah.
I'd say it is yours too, my love.
Whatever.
It is yours and available to you at a moment's notice.
Anyway,
she will not be told.
No.
Or a tornado does not take directions.
A tornado does not take directions. No. That is true. This tornado probably should have taken directions, I guess. So I did manage to fill up all the remaining tires, and then Cowboy promptly tells me,
I insisted that she go drive, just in case there's a lot of...
You need to drive around now because you got fix-a-flat in it, and it's just going to like all solidify in one spot if you don't get it rotating around inside the tire.
So my father told me. I'm sure
now
I read
that you
it
ruined the damn thing, so we might as well.
It's probably a ruined tire.
So it probably is a ruined
probably
tire.
Need to replace that thing. Might as well just put the donut on it.
I know. I haven't told my daughter yet. I'm like, oh, you might need to buy a tire.
So if you have a blowout,
You're welcome.
it's not somehow your mother's fault. You're to blame, my child.
And then in the daylight, there is this awful
rubbery stain
on the driveway now.
It's so sticky. Yeah.
It is just this, like, have you ever walked in like a movie theater, like the carpet, how it has that.
What kind of movie theater is you going to, my love?
That soda.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
That has spilled on the floor, and you kind of pick your foot up and you feel that stick.
That's how you lose a flip flop in the movie theater.
Yeah. That's in our driveway now. It's just this stain of shame on my.
The stain of shame. Again, it sounds like a date night gone wrong.
It was. So you tell
while that's happening.
This is happening.
I'm up the driveway.
On your side of the driveway.
I'm a few feet away. And so I'm switching out the trailer hitch has a certain, there's the ball, right? Everybody knows what that ball is on the hitch. Well,
no.
Well, you do now. So it's that little ball that the trailer hooks into.
I don't have a ball.
Okay. Well, you do now. I installed one myself, my love. So this little.
You actually called me and said, "Where is the trailer hitch?" And I'm like, "You're talking about the hitch pin? The hitch pin's in my glove box." And you're like, "No, not the trailer hitch." And I'm like, "I don't have a trailer hitch." And you're like, "What are you talking about? You don't have a trailer hitch?"
She says that with this flirtatious wink. I don't have a trailer hitch. Wink. So, and I'm just at this point, I'm like.
He's so frustrated. He's like, just tell me where the damn thing is.
So one, I had to find the hitch. Two, I had to install it on her car, and it was just hers already has the towing package, so I just had to put the hitch on. But the ball size was wrong for that particular hitch for the car. It was actually fitted onto the motorcycle. So to pull that off, it has this really huge nut. I know. Don't look at me like that.
Husband.
But I don't have a wrench big enough for that.
I'm pretty sure you do.
But I do. Kiki bought it for me. Wait, it's gotten weird. And but it's one of those big plumber's wrenches, the one that gets kind of a big ratchet wrench.
Yes.
And I had misplaced it.
That is shocking to me. That's really surprising.
In our highly organized garage and home, the wrench was not where I expected. So let's rewind to while Kiki was doing most of that, and I was just hollering out, "You should use the air compressor from the bike."
Why are you doing that in the dark?
Why are you doing that silly thing in the dark? Why don't you read the instructions? And meanwhile, I'm trying to find this wrench, and I'm turning the garage over trying to find this wrench because I know.
Now, I want you to picture this, people. Our garage is so full.
You ever see?
That-
it reminds me of that scene at the end of that first Indiana Jones movie, where at the very end, where they're putting away the Ark and they put it inside a giant box, and they zoom out, and it's a warehouse full of boxes. So that's our garage, just on a smaller scale, but as full and as difficult to find anything.
And nothing's labeled.
Nothing is labeled. It's
Nothing
all
is
in
labeled,
boxes.
and
It's
not even
stacked.
transparent boxes.
Not even. Yeah.
Stacked.
Shelves that you can't see through.
Not to mention that we had unloaded his work storage unit into the garage as well.
Which it's now more full.
Because, hey, why not? Let's do that. And that'll make life easier.
Let's put more stuff with the stuff.
Yes. So he's digging through all of that.
And I'm moving things.
I'm sitting there
cursing,
swearing in the
sweating.
So we're both swearing.
And pissed. And so I finally, about the time she's making a chemical spill, I finally find this. I finally an epiphany. So I'm raising that wrench above my head in success, solidarity with the wrench people, and she's over there making a mess. And at that point, I'm kind of accepted that tire's probably gone. So I finally get the wrench out. I'm swapping out the ball from the motorcycle to the car, so I can finally hook up the trailer. Which is funny because her car is this little red car, and it's towing this little white trailer that's meant for a motorcycle.
Well, meant for a motorcycle.
What's funny is the trailer is not small. I mean, it's really not. It's 160
it's actually
pounds.
Sized nicely
empty.
For my car.
Yeah, it actually fits her car pretty well. If only it were red, but it's kind of a white, off white that matches.
On some days it could be considered white,
depending on the shade. Yeah, yeah, it was a little dirty, but I was able to finally get that. So we both. So what happens in or around the driveway, well, apparently all happened in one day. It was the same day we were out. It's just a
cacophony.
And a mess.
I don't know what.
And there's scars. From the street, you can look and see, what the hell happened?
Like, what happened?
All kinds of shit happened.
I swear that our neighbors are constantly wondering, like, what the fuck is going on over at this house?
Look at that yard. What are they doing? What's that? It's goo in the. It's better just.
And then we open our garage and they're like, oh my god.
We're the house you walk by with
quickly,
you like kind of
quickly
double time.
And you don't say anything. You're like, no.
So you actually
don't make eye contact.
You're better off averting your eyes. You don't want to see. You don't want to be influenced by what you might witness.
That is very
Unless
true.
you tune into this podcast, obviously, and then you're along for the ride.
Next podcast we'll have a hoarders episode.
Yes. Next time on hoarders. I mean, Kiki and Cowboy.
That and auto maintenance.
Yeah. Oh.
We'll start our own YouTube.
Yeah. We believe auto maintenance should be
auto and lawn maintenance.
Yes, we've got
that's our forte.
Got some stuff. We're doing some things right. We're also doing some things wrong.
Lots of things wrong.
Oh my gosh,
lots of things wrong.
Well, we sure had fun today, and we're really glad that you joined us. Look for our soon to come, if it's not already there, our merch shop that we keep talking about but have not released yet. But then again, if you're listening to this in the future, you know that we're these amazing podcasters with a audience of probably 10 plus who have maybe or may
10?
Not have bought. I know.
Have we made it to 10?
We, of course not. But at some point we'll have a merch shop and some Patreon that you can buy some coffee or, maybe ask us for money.
I don't know.
Just
how this goes. Send us money for some tort nuggets and to pay for some of these kids.
Nuggets
and I don't care about the coffee.
Maybe a power washer to clean the driveway.
We definitely did that.
All right. So thank you for joining us on Misadventures with
Kiki
and Cowboy. We hope you had a good time.
Thanks,
and
y'all.
try to
Love
stay
you.
cool.